What have you ever heard someone say that made you question their intelligence? Years back, I got a help desk ticket because an Excel document was missing. She said she kept the shortcut to that Excel spreadsheet in the upper right corner of her desktop, and it's gone. She's panicking hard as I walk into her office. I sit down at her desk and proceed to take a post-it note off of the top right corner of her monitor. Found it. Had to re-image a user's computer once. She had dual monitors. Calls an hour later saying Outlook was on the wrong screen and she needed it on the other screen. I remote it on, dragged it over to the other screen and closed the ticket. The biggest state is California. No, it's Texas. Wait, isn't it Alaska? Alaska doesn't count. It's an island. Yeah, it's in that square next to Hawaii. A guy I work with said that he would fast forward through the talking parts of Breaking Bad so he could skip to the action scenes. Then he complained that the show wasn't that great. Two of the favorites I've heard is a penguin as a fish, and the other one is the sun is the closest planet to Earth. Huh. So close. Penguins are kinda fishy. The sun is the closest star to the Earth. Just now one of my intellectually disabled clients said the following: when I was little I swallowed a penny. The doctor x-rayed me and didn't see any change. I wrote it down for later. I'm sure he's really smart and knowingly told an awesome joke. I'm not sure if my co-workers will believe me. Questioning people's intelligence in the other direction. I like this post. I'll boil the kettle now so it's one less thing I have to do in the morning. That would make sense if the said person were to boil it on a dying fire, in a fireplace, and also a pretty big kettle. Overheard a guy and girl talking, probably in their early 20s. Guy: my mom's trying to rip me off. You know how I've been paying her $50 a week to live with her? Girl: yeah. Guy: well, now she told me I should just pay her $200 a month. There aren't 4 weeks in a month, and I can't afford that much. I felt bad for the girl after the really long pause and her trying to explain that every month had 4 weeks, and most had extra days. I need to buy a pregnancy test because I used the men's toilet and worried it could make me pregnant. A girl I work with. Used to work at a place where we traveled a lot. My co-worker and I stopped to fuel up our diesel Suburban. I ran inside to get a few things, and when I come out, this guy was pulling the burb up front, rolls down the window, and says, "Hey, it's okay to put regular gas in a diesel, right?" Yes, he'd already done it. A coworker recently found out she has high blood pressure and is struggling with her diet. I suggested she eat lots of veggies and fruit. She said she can't cuss the skins of both of them are loaded with sodium. She decided that deli meat and cheese is a better alternative cause they show the sodium content. Exit gene pool. Stage right. Water is alive, as in the hydrogen and oxygen together made a living creature. She argued this against our chemistry teacher. Humans are 70% water and 30% squishy. No water, no squishy. Water is alive. Stay woke, sheeple. Female colleague driving us to work. Her: the car makes a weird noise sometimes. Me: when does it do that? Her: I don't know. It's random. Me: what kind of noise? Her: a gag kind. Me: totally confused. You should take it to the garage. Her: yeah, I'll do that today. Hit the highway. Her: there it is, the noise. Me: what? Where? I don't hear anything. Her: it's so loud you can hear it. Me: you mean the engine? Proceed to laugh uncontrollably. Granted, she was a new driver. What was the name of the ship that sank on the Titanic movie? To this day I cannot believe that she was asking that seriously. I've posted before, but my boss asked if the paper was expired when the printer kept jamming. Makes about as much sense as unable to print black and white, out of yellow ink. I've got 3 from a friend's ex-girlfriend. First would be, did Spartans have guns? During a viewing of Fear and Loathing came he's his lawyer. I thought he was his attorney, and with total sincerity as she for some reason explained her irregular periods to me. It's because I was born with only one uterus. I use my second uterus for baking. In school we had a black guy from France as an exchange student. My teacher referred to him as an African American student. I've heard someone say the African Americans in Ethiopia. The person who said it wasn't even an American citizen himself. Customer. Hi, I need a part for my car please. Me. Okay, no problem. What kind of car do you have? Customer. A blue one. Me. Laughing. That's a good one. Customer. Me. Oh, you were serious. That the government requires all of the major airlines to mix aluminum and other chemicals in their jet fuel so the exhaust can be used for mind control, aka chemtrails. Same guy said yes when asked if humans actually went to the moon, and then added that it was only to explore the ancient alien bases. 20-something relative. Do you think that the Underground Railroad still runs? Me. What? 20-something. The train that the slaves escaped on. Me. I think the Underground Railroad was a network of people, not an actual train. 20-something. No, it was definitely a train. WTF. I've always just assumed the Underground Railroad was tunnels across the South and slaves traveled entirely underground. After a little bit of googling, I've just now discovered that's not entirely true. One of my new friends told me that she voted for Trump because of his astrological profile. She didn't read any of his specific policies because his charts were clearly superior to Hillary's. Really blew my mind. My 65-plus-year-old boss asked how do they respond so fast at Google. Dear old man, thought you typed a question and a live person on the other end was typing an answer. Haha. That's really cute though. 1. Was at a friend's house. We both had small children. Friend's husband was spinning their 1-year-old in a desk chair. My friend walked in the room, saw it, ran over and stopped the chair, picked up her son and snapped at her husband, don't do that. You'll put bubbles in his brain. 2. At the store on New Year's Day and overheard a grown man ask his significant other, so, is tomorrow Labor Day or something? His wife paused, hesitated and said no, just a regular federal holiday. My mother-in-law consistently interchanges the words bought, the past tense of buy, and brought, the past tense of bring. When I try to correct her, she just stares at me and repeats the incorrect word over and over. That's kind of like when people interchange sell and sale. Drives me nuts. I want my children to get measles. Then they will be immune. I'm pro-vaccine and will generally let anti-vaxxers do their thing as long as they don't harass me for getting the flu jab. But this anti-vaxxer was a whole different barrel of crazy. I highly doubt any sane, smart and competent parent actually wants to see their kids suffer. I was working at a pizza place at the time. When the sun sets, it shines straight into the front of the store, nearly blinding anyone looking towards the front of the store. I had an employee come up to me and say, holy crap, it's so bright. What planet is that coming from? Could not for the life of me figure out how to respond. Since then his nickname was Planets. North is whatever direction is in front of a person instead of being a fixed point. My sister loves saying she is a scientist and super logical. She argued a compass orients to the person, not the other way around. I tried to explain it to her. My husband tried to explain it to her. No dice. My dad then defended her. No amount of proof would make them listen. I also have issues with sleep paralysis and sleep in general. I mentioned it to my sister and she offered me some healing crystals. I told her no thanks and booked an appointment with my doctor instead. Would it? Typos. There's a person in my family who thinks that north is whichever way you are facing to. It's so annoying. People say that I shouldn't be so hard on her because she's 8 and I should love her unconditionally since she's my kid. But I don't know. My favorite part of a fried egg is the yellow. You mean the yolk? What's yolk? I mean the yellow part in the middle. To be fair, in a lot of languages the yolk is literally called the yellow. So, my husband, boyfriend at the time, is a very quiet and serious person, especially back then. He is also an engineer who got a full ride scholarship to Purdue because of his amazing grades, so obviously really smart. On one of our first dates, we, college age, were at a playground near campus. I love the swings, so we were swinging for a little bit. We were talking, and one of the times I looked over at him, he had this very serious, almost stoic look on his face. Then, all of a sudden, he swings back, lets go, and face plants into the mulch. He got up and acted like nothing just happened. After much confusion, I managed to ask him why he did that, and he said that he didn't want to get mulch in his sandals. I just don't know. Sometimes with him, there are lots of other examples of his strange thought process. I think he's really smart, just has no common sense. Talking about different languages, me, and then there is sign language. Kate, out of the office, what does that sound like? Me. 0 Twins as roommates. One twin turned to the other and said, "We have the same DNA. If one of us gets pregnant, how will we know who the mother is?" Pretty sure they meant after the kid was born, and if the actual mom couldn't just be like, "Yay, that came out of my vagina." Did you know you can use oranges and cinnamon for tequila shots if you don't have limes and salt? Really opens cabinet and pulls out cinnamon, so you snort it? There's an important gap between you can and you should. Imagine if Earth didn't have a moon, all the water in the oceans and stuff would just be floating in the air, while cutting ribbons for balloons for our New Year's Eve party. Girl 1, here I'll take over for a bit. Girl 2, do you want us to show you how to do it? Girl 1, no, I've cut string before. Girl 2, really? Because it's been taking both of us to do it. After watching Game of Thrones every Sunday for 5 years, during a scene in season 5 with Bran, is he paralyzed? Only since like the first episode, buddy. You go to cinema. Nelson Mandela was on the projector in class and this girl proceeded to believe that he was Barack Obama. I live in Ohio and was once talking to a guy who lives in Maryland. During the conversation, for whatever reason, Korea is brought up. He cuts me off and loudly exclaims, "Oh, Korea, isn't that right next to Ohio?" I did not talk to him much after that. One day in 11th grade, our teacher was explaining the grading rubric for the essay section of the SAT to us. She stated that our essays would be scored 1/6 by 2 separate graders. If the 2 given scores were to vary too much from each other, our essay would then be graded once again by a 3rd grader to establish the final score. A girl in my class angrily interrupted, "Why would they let a 3rd grader grade our essays?" She asked me if it was the same son in all 50 states. Yeah, that relationship lasted way longer than it should have. She was very cute though. Not necessarily what he said, but I was at my uncle's house and my cousin was using the shop vac to clean the chipped wood and paint as we were redoing the outside of the fireplace. He turns the shop vac on and begins trying to clean the wood off the floor and it's not picking anything up, and he turns to his dad and says that the vacuum isn't working. We turn and look at him and the hose was disconnected from the vacuum. It's okay for me to speed up while going around this tight curve because cops think it's too dangerous, so they never chase me. Had an ex who believed dinosaurs are fake and the bone evidence found by archaeologists were placed there as a hoax or that they were lying about what they found. Why should I have to pay tax to make tampons free? If women can just learn to control their bladder, it wouldn't be a problem. No wonder why Planned Parenthood is going to stop being funded. A friend of mine asked in 7th grade, "How do you spell AC/DC?" This would have been hilarious if he wasn't asking it in a serious way. A. C. Lightning bolt. D. C. Family member. Her whole household had a cold. She said she definitely wasn't getting sick because she prayed about it and rebuked sickness in Jesus' name. Needless to say, I laughed my butt off when she caught it. Makes me laugh, of all the people in the world, all the things like war, abuse, or babies with cancer, God is gonna cure your common cold. Like really? When I was studying in the US university in 2013, I heard some ridiculous comments. This university claims to be a very respected and is a famous one, always in the top rankings, so some people there blow my mind, considering how difficult it was to get in. My favorite one though, has to be, do other countries outside the US have Wi-Fi? Small town gal with not the best high school education talking to one of the first vegetarian people she's ever met. So, like, what do you eat for protein? I dunno. Tofu, peanut butter, beans. But beans are meat. How do you eat them? She is currently a practicing doctor of medicine. This guy walks up to me wearing a shirt that says deplorable. This was before the election and the first time I'd ever seen one of those shirts. Me, what's with the shirt? Him. It's cause Hillary called us all deplorables. Me. Oh. Him. It means she thinks we're stupid. Me. That's what deplorable means. Him. Yeah. This is very undeplorable. In school we were learning about evolution and we were looking at a PowerPoint slide of cavemen when one girl in my class blurts out they had cameras back then. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.